a fictionalized account of the disappearance of Brandon Swanson, the road less traveled. Brandon Swanson was not the type to panic. At 19, he had a sharp mind, an independent streak, and a knack for handling problems on his own. So when his Chevy Lumina veered off the road and into a ditch on that quiet May night in 2008, he didn't curse or slam his fist against the wheel. He simply sighed, reached for his phone, and dialed home. "Hey, Mom, the car's stuck. Can you and Dad come get me?" Annette Swanson sat up in bed, instantly alert. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine," he assured her. "Just need a ride." "Where are you?" Brandon peered through the windshield. The road stretched behind him, disappearing into the vast Minnesota countryside. No streetlights, no landmarks, just darkness. "Near Lind, I think," he said. "I'm on a gravel road. Should be easy to find." His father, Brian, was already out of bed, pulling on jeans. "Keep talking to us. We're on our way." Brandon stepped out of the car, shivering as the night air wrapped around him. The sky was clear, the stars bright, but the silence was unsettling. No distant hum of traffic, no rustling of trees, just an expanse of emptiness. "I see some lights ahead," he said. "I'll walk toward them. Meet me there." It sounded like a good plan. His parents drove toward where they thought he was. But as the minutes passed, they realized something strange. He wasn't there. The call that never ended. The road signs didn't match what Brandon described. His parents drove up and down the area, headlights cutting through the dark, but there was no sign of him. "Brandon, we're on the road by Lind," Brian said. "Where are you?" Brandon's frustration seeped into his voice. "I told you, I'm near the town. I see lights." Annette tried to keep him calm. "Honey, just stay where you are. We'll find you." But Brandon wouldn't wait. "No, I'll keep walking. I have to be close." They stayed on the phone with him for nearly an hour, guiding him, trying to make sense of his location. Then, suddenly, a sharp noise, a rustling sound. And then, silence. The line was still connected, but Brandon was gone. A vanishing without a trace. Brian hit the brakes and jumped out of the truck, his voice breaking the stillness of the night. "Brandon?" No answer. Annette's hands trembled as she clutched the phone. "Brandon? Honey? Can you hear us?" Nothing. For several more minutes they listened, hoping, praying for any sound. But all they heard was the faint hum of the open line. Then, finally, the call ended. The search begins. By dawn, the Swansons had called the police. Officers traced the last known location of Brandon's phone and found his abandoned car, but not near Lind. It was 25 miles away, near Taunton, on a different back road entirely. It made no sense. Cadaver dogs picked up his scent. The trail led from the car down a gravel path, across a field, and to the edge of a creek. But then the scent disappeared. No footprints leading away, no sign of a body. Brandon had simply vanished. Theories and shadows. Over the weeks and months that followed, search teams scoured the area. Helicopters swept overhead. Divers searched the creek. Nothing. As time passed, theories emerged. Some believed Brandon had fallen into the water and drowned. But if that were the case, why was there no body? Why did his scent vanish so suddenly? Others wondered if he had encountered something or someone in the dark. His last words, haunted his parents. What had startled him? Was it fear, shock? Had he seen something in the fields that night? Local legends whispered of strange happenings in the Minnesota countryside. Lights that flickered in the darkness, figures that moved where no one should be. Had Brandon stumbled upon something unnatural? Or had a more human danger been waiting for him? A family's endless nightmare. Years passed. The Swansons never stopped searching. Every year they drove those same roads, hoping for a clue, a sign, something to tell them what had happened to their son. But the fields remained silent. The creek kept its secrets. And Brandon Swanson never came home. The road that leads to nowhere. To this day, the road where Brandon vanished looks the same. The wind still whispers through the fields. The sky is just as endless. But for those who walk there at night, sometimes, if you listen closely, you might hear the echo of a voice. A young man calling for help, a voice that was never found. What really happened to Brandon? Was he kidnapped, hunted by wild animals, or something supernatural? Maybe he teleported to another world. Please leave your answers in the comments.
What happens in those crucial moments before someone vanishes without a trace? In rural Minnesota, a 19-year-old's last words on a phone call to his parents might hold the answer to one of the most perplexing missing persons cases of our time.
The Brandon Swanson case still sends chills down my spine. One moment he's on the phone with his parents, the next complete silence.
You know what's fascinating about this? Brandon wasn't doing anything risky. He was just driving home from a party celebrating the end of his college semester when his Chevy Lumina ended up in a ditch.
And he did exactly what any responsible person would do, called his parents for help. No panic, no drama.
But here's where things get strange. Brandon was absolutely convinced he was near Lind, Minnesota. He kept insisting, kept describing landmarks that weren't there.
The actual location of his car completely contradicts that, doesn't it? 25 miles away near Taunton. How does someone get that disoriented?
Well, these rural Minnesota roads are notorious for being disorienting at night. No streetlights, no landmarks, just endless fields and gravel roads that all look the same in the dark.
That hour-long phone call with his parents must have been increasingly frustrating for everyone involved.
And then we get to those final moments, that sudden, oh shh, followed by complete silence. The line stayed connected for several minutes after that, but there was nothing. No sounds of struggle, no splash, no cry for help.
The search efforts were extensive, weren't they? Multiple teams, helicopters, cadaver dogs.
The dogs actually provided one of the most puzzling pieces of evidence. They tracked his scent from the car, across a field, to the edge of a creek, and then nothing. Like he literally vanished into thin air.
You know what's interesting? Like, the creek theory doesn't really hold up. It wasn't flood season, the water wasn't particularly dangerous, and they searched it thoroughly multiple times.
Let me share something that wasn't widely reported. The temperature that night was around 39 degrees Fahrenheit. Cold enough to be uncomfortable, but not cold enough to cause immediate hypothermia.
That's significant because it rules out weather as a major factor in his disappearance.
The case actually led to significant legal changes. Brandon's law was passed in Minnesota, requiring immediate action when adults go missing under suspicious circumstances. Before this, there was often a mandatory waiting period.
So his disappearance actually changed how law enforcement handles missing persons cases?
Exactly. And here's another interesting detail. The last ping from Brandon's phone placed him in a completely different location than where he thought he was. The cell tower data showed he was moving northwest, away from both Lind and Taunton.
Those lights he kept saying he was walking toward, they've never been explained, have they?
Never. And local residents reported no unusual lights or activities in the area that night. The mystery of what Brandon saw in those final moments remains unsolved.
15 years later, and we still have no answers.
What makes this case so compelling is how it challenges our understanding of disappearances. There's usually some trace, some evidence, some explanation. But with Brandon, it's like he stepped out of reality.
The implications for missing persons investigations are profound. It shows how someone can vanish even while actively communicating with others.
And perhaps that's the most chilling aspect of all, that final connection, that open phone line, representing our last tenuous link to someone who simply ceased to exist in our world.
It really makes you think about how fragile our grip on reality can be.
And how sometimes the darkness at the edge of those rural roads might hold secrets we're not ready to understand.